He served his country nobly and performed his duties with pride and personal sacrifice. It is appropriate for us to mourn his loss together, a life cut short. It is appropriate for us to draw upon the spiritual resources we have. It is appropriate for us to continue our mission with pride and personal sacrifice. He leaves behind his mother, Mary, fiancée, Jessica, his sister, Sue, and brother-in-law, Bob. Those of you who knew Sergeant Turner knew that he loved to serve, and he loved to bring joy to people's hearts. Sergeant Turner was a cook, and he loved to serve his fellow soldiers only the best. On his last deployment, he would typically grab leftover cookies from the DFAC and bring them to the chapel, making sure that everyone felt welcome. Along with being a cook, it is because of this that he became known as Cookie. True story. Cookie often volunteered to serve at the chapel, playing bass guitar during the worship service, and singing powerfully at the top of his lungs. He loved music, and he aspired to be a singer. Those who heard him sing, both in the chapel and in the DFAC, were often moved to raise their own voices and sing along with him. He was sweet and he was passionate. In his service, he inspired all of those around him, bringing joy to people's hearts, what he loved to do best. If Cookie wasn't at the DFAC, he was at the chapel. One of Cookie's favorite psalms was Psalm 144. This particular psalm contains many elements that spoke to his life, being both a soldier and a musician. The psalm begins, "Blessed be the Lord, my rock, who trains my hands for war and my fingers for battle. He is my steadfast love, my fortress, my stronghold and my deliverer, my shield, and he in whom I take refuge." The psalm later reads, "I will sing a new song to you, O God. Upon a 10-stringed harp I will play to you, who gives victory to kings." Cookie loved being a soldier. He believed that his calling was not only to be able to fight when needed, but to serve and sustain other soldiers, physically and emotionally. He was diligent to pray for other soldiers as they passed by him in the DFAC. Sergeant Turner had victory in view as he lifted his voice in singing wherever he went, an encouragement to others. He and the lives of the soldiers in his unit were sustained, nourished, and protected as they were deployed. Many of his comrades owe him thanks for keeping morale high during their last deployment. He returned home safely to a loving family. The psalm also reads, "Man is like a breath. His days are like a passing shadow." Those who knew Sergeant Turner have shared his view that life is indeed short. No one is guaranteed the next breath or the next day. And so he lived every day to its fullest. For all who were deployed with Sergeant Turner, they knew him as a servant who would personally sacrifice his time and resources for the betterment and encouragement of others. Sergeant Turner is a life cut short. He made it through the battles, and he made it through the war. He even made it home. But it was at home that his life was cut short. His days were like a breath, like a passing shadow. But with every breath he had, he brought life and light to those around him. Prepared to fight, prepared to inspire with each breath, he also recognized the brevity and frailty of life and that he could not fight alone. In his life and in his death, Cookie was an inspiration to all, and he will be deeply missed. Sergeant George Cookie Turner honored the oath he took to protect and defend the Constitution of the United States. He dedicated his life in selfless service to his country. He served honorably, mission first, giving full measure of devotion to the soldiers around him. We honor him today by mourning together and by continuing the mission. May God grant us also the ability to serve our country with the pride and personal sacrifice shown by this fallen soldier, Sergeant George Cookie